welcome to X-Play's Top 9 of 09 so far. This is an extravaganza, and I'm your host, Adam Kessler.
Extravaganza! And I'm Morgan Webb. Today we are showering praise on the 9 best games of 2009 so far.
And believe it or not, we didn't have to pad the show with some games we kind of sort of liked as we did in years past.
I know! These are all great titles that you shouldn't have the slightest hesitation picking up.
Also on today's show, we're going to talk about the shockers of 2009, celebrity deaths aside.
Wasn't that shocking? As much as we'd like to, do that, the focus should be more on the games that came out of nowhere and actually wowed us. Paging Mr. Scent.
Then we'll sit down and reveal our personal favorites so far this year. Here's a hint. It's not Resident Evil 5.
Nope. And since the X-Play staff is full of narcissists and attention whores, we're giving them the opportunity to voice their opinion, too.
All right, enough filibustering. So topical. Let's just get down to it.
February saw the return of the biggest fighting franchise in gaming with the release of Street Fighter 4.
And even despite the fact that we've heard that damn song in the menus 10,000 times, we still love this game. Ladies and gentlemen, the champion has finally returned. Street Fighter 4 is quite possibly the best entry in the series. And yes, we know that's saying a lot. Character balance in the game is exceptional. With a couple of small exceptions, everyone has such an overwhelming amount of combos and attacks, you'll never feel shortchanged.
Sagat wins!
All of the originals of Street Fighter 2 have returned, plus 5 characters exclusive to the console. The new competitors fit perfectly into the Street Fighter universe, like sexy spy Crimson Viper or MMA fighter Abel. Our experience online has gone very smoothly. The performance is about on par with that of HD Remix. New challengers can jump in at any time, making the experience really reminiscent of that childhood you squandered away in an arcade.
After years of CG trailers, delays, endless hype, and rampant fanboyism, Killzone 2 couldn't just be okay. It really needed to be great. Luckily, PlayStation 3 owners got the game that they were promised.
Okay, people, let's get done.
The first Killzone was all about defending your world from the evil alien scum, the Helghast. In this installment, you're actually taking the fight to them on their home planet, Helghan. We are very happy to report that all the major problems of the first game have been fixed. The AI is much smarter, and your gun seems to have a convincing heft to it. The online component of Killzone 2 is actually better than the single-player adventure. Guerrilla Games stripped away the ability to grab cover, which forces you to get creative. Instead of flat environments, the maps integrate plenty of vertical elements. We like the ability to form a 4-person squad within your team so you can voice chat with your closest pals and spawn on location of your squad leader. Alright, we expected games like Street Fighter 4 and Killzone 2 to be pretty good based on our early impressions, but there still were plenty of titles that defied our expectations this year.
Yeah, good and bad. Now, first we should talk about the games that were surprisingly solid. X-Men Origins.
Yeah.
I think that one was one that we can say that definitely was a little surprising to people.
Especially after watching the movie and the movie being so bad. Typically, if the movie's bad, the game's going to be worse. But the game was actually far better than the movie, which was very exciting.
That extra year helped the game did nothing for that cinematic non-epic that was put out back in the day.
I love the fact that you could lock onto somebody and then leap onto them. That power should be in every single game.
It's Wolverine, man. It's what he does.
Exactly. There's no skill. It will happen.
Yeah.
Now, I think the other one that was just obvious, 50 Cent.
Yeah.
But this thing came out of nowhere.
Well, the first 50 Cent game got a 1 out of 5.
I know, and it's really one of the worst games I've ever played.
Yeah.
And apparently, Mr. Cent himself wasn't very happy with the quality of his work. He likes his video games. And wow, I mean, it was just one of the most silly, fun games I've played in a long time.
It didn't take itself too seriously. He was going after this crystal skull. Why? I don't. Because he's 50 Cent.
Yeah, that's what he does. You know, he does concerts in the deserts constantly, where all they get paid in is, bedazzled bones. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's not ambitious, but what it did very well. Those controls were just rock solid.
Well, and it wasn't a very long game, we should say, which is why, this one and also X-Men Origins were not incredibly long games. They weren't like the best games ever, but they were surprises.
Yes, as well as House of the Dead.
Yes.
Overkill for the Wii. That
Absolutely.
was a dark game in 2 different ways. Both in tone and I can't see anything there. But let's talk about some disappointments for a second.
Okay.
Bionic Commando.
My youth inside of me right now is like,
Aren't you used to having your youth destroyed by now?
Yeah, I mean, because I work here, and that's what you guys. But yeah, I mean, this is a game that, there were such high expectations because of the Xbox Live title. We're like, oh my God, the next-gen version is going to be amazing if they can do this with this 2D thing. It was horrible.
Yeah.
And
It really. And it looked like it was a game that somebody compromised on. Like, it had grand ambitions, but then when you suddenly started to see the blue force fields that were going to cause you instant death, you're like, someone had to cut some corners here to get this game out.
Yeah. And Resident Evil 5, of course.
Yes.
Sorry about that. Resident Evil 4 had done so many interesting, innovative things, and all of a sudden this game came along, and it was felt such like an old game. It did everything that ever has been done before, and it just was very disappointing.
This is, I think, the true disappointment, because it was not the worst game ever.
Right.
But with the expectations that justifiably were applied to it, it really fell short. Yeah.
Right.
We've moved on with life, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. But, at the end of the day, who really cares what we think? We know you guys are watching, so you can hear recommendations by the sad group of people whose job it is to make this show.
They are sad.
Enjoy our staff picks.
My favorite game so far this year was probably Game 6 of the NBA Finals. Other than that, gotta say Infamous. Thanks, Sucker Punch.
X-Men Origins Wolverine, because if you take the disc and scrape your tongue with it, you can actually take the taste of that crappy movie right out of your mouth.
Ghostbusters the video game, because I can finally live out my long, sad, awesome dream to be a Ghostbuster.
Infamous, 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 Infamous.
Guitar Hero Metallica, because the set list is insane.
My pick is Peggle, for very obvious reasons.
I think the best of 09 so far is Resident Evil 5. I know a lot of people didn't like it, but zombies.
Fallout 3's Broken Steel. Insane. That gunfight was ridiculous at the end.
Until it comes back the next day, and then suddenly they're screaming at you again, and...
Flower.
Adam had a stroke right after that. When X Plays Top 9 of 09 special continues, we'll have, you guessed it, more of the year's best games. Well, up until July anyway, because that's where we are now. There's superhero epics, Waggle Fest, and even a sports game or two. Plus, even more picks from the emotionally damaged X Play staff. If you're in need of a decent game to invest in, this is the show to watch, so stay with us.
Two, and my glutes are getting pounded.
Welcome back to X-Play. This August, 4 of the world's best online poker players attempt to outsmart Vegas in G4's newest original series, 2 Months, 2 Million. Using their own cash, these former high school mathletes try to do the impossible, win $2 million in 2 months. That is, of course, unless Sin City doesn't send them packing first. Find out if they've got what it takes. Do not miss the world premiere of 2 Months, 2 Million, August 16th, only on G4. And you can check out 2m2mm.com for exclusive behind-the-scenes videos and footage of Playboy Playmates visiting the set. There you go, Morgan Webb.
I wonder what they were doing there, helping them with the math?
That's what they do. They're good at that.
Early in the show, we gave some love to Killzone 2, but it's not the only PS3 title to make our top 9 of 09. Of course, Infamous, from the team behind the Sly Cooper series, is a superhero game that shows you all the ways electrical powers can be used on a panic-stricken city. Good and really, really bad. Open world? Check. Ability to be good or evil? Check. Sweet lightning powers? Yeah. Check. Infamous scratches a lot of itches when it comes to the open world formula. The setup is pretty simple. Big explosion, hero wakes up a few weeks later with a headache and superpowers, hero has to figure out what's going on. Infamous controls like a dream. As your powers develop, zipping around town gets to be almost as fun as frying bad guys. And while the choice to be good or evil is pretty common these days, there is actually enough difference between Infamous's 2 storylines to warrant a second playthrough. Infamous joins the list of exclusives that PS3 owners would be, well, you'd just be silly not to own.
Don't worry, handheld gamers. You don't need a fancy LED, LCD, and surround sound to enjoy the year's best games. All you need is a DS and the willingness to become Jack Thompson's walking nightmare. Let's take a look at the littlest murder simulator, Grand Theft Auto Chinatown Wars. Grand Theft Auto Chinatown Wars is the best thing to happen to Chinatown since Kurt Russell and the Pork Chop Express came rolling in. Chinatown Wars has all the felonious behavior you demand in a GTA game rolled up in a blunt-sized package. You've got mass murder, arson, hit and run, owning a private jet, assaulting cops, paying out executive bonuses, carjacking, drugs, and hey, that's where I put it. Never would have thought to look there. Anyway, Chinatown is a full-blown, no-holds-barred GTA game. Add to this stash of awesomeness a very cool multiplayer component, and you've got a killer game. GTA Chinatown Wars, aside from being a great DS standout, it's also one of our favorites in 09.
All right, we've definitely busted the Wii's chops now and again, but you know what? Rightfully so. They're sitting on a mountain of money. They can take it. Now, while hardcore gamers might whine about the lack of a new Zelda or Mother 3, the console actually does have some great 5-star titles like Blox Bash Party and Tiger Woods PGA Tour 10.
I know what you're thinking. This looks a lot like the original Blox. You know what I'm thinking? That's a good thing. The first Blox was great. Blox Bash Party is even better. There are over 400 new block bashing levels that'll have you lowering the boom everywhere from the cold depths of Davy Jones's locker to a galaxy far, far away. Whether you're a fan of the series or new to the party, start stretching your throwing arm. Trust me, with a game this addictive, it helps. And the best news for golf lovers since the invention of plaid, Tiger Woods is back with Tiger Woods PGA Tour 10 for the Wii. Right out of the clubhouse, you'll notice the biggest game changer, the Wii Motion Plus. Nintendo's newest plugin gives you incredible control over your tee shots and chips and lets you pull off putts that Chubbs Peterson would be proud of.
Drops it for birdie.
One note of caution, I'm not saying this is exactly like heading out to Bushwood and whipping out your 3-iron, but the correlation between the Wiimote and your on-screen swing is above par.
I can't believe that shot.
Wait, since this is golf, shouldn't it be below par?
When X Play's Top 9 of 09 special continues, we are going to take a look at the year's most serene, pleasant game, because, you know, we're serene, pleasant people. And then we're going to talk about some DLC that has what you all want.
Full frontal male nudity.
Yeah.
Woohoo! Plus, we'll reveal our favorite game so far this year. Stay with us.
Whew. Top 9 of 09 special.
All right, today we're giving props and big ups to the best games released so far this year.
Did you say big ups?
I did.
We talked about a lot of great titles so far, but we all have our personal favorites.
Okay, I know I said Flower and that other thing because I want to be different, but Infamous. This game has given me endless amounts of happy.
Yeah.
I know. I think Infamous. I'm not of like a singular mind here.
No, I know. And actually, Infamous is my pick too. And when you know the producer said, "Well, Adam picked Infamous," I'm like, "Well, I'm gonna pick Infamous too." Yeah. So there.
Let's just say that I picked it first, so that Adam's copying me.
I totally picked it first. It's a lot of fun. You know, it's like Crackdown plus Assassin's Creed kind of. And you know what? That's a good thing. It's just a lot of fun. They let you do exactly what you want to do, which is jump all over the city. Break things, blow things up, be a badass, and you're like, all right.
And I think the one thing that usually games like this that are trying to do the Grand Theft Auto open world, they suffer from a lack of invention in terms of the missions. And I felt that the missions, the story ones, stayed fresh, they stayed challenging, and they stayed surprising, which is so important for a game of this kind of length and breadth.
Yeah, the AI was definitely challenging. Okay, now you had to be different.
Always. Always.
Play something different
Look,
than us.
I loved Infamous, and I would have picked that had you guys both not went with it. I went with a little bit of originality. I went with Mad World because A, I wanted to spend 3 hours updating my Wii, which was really fun to do, and B, I love Running Man, and this is basically Running Man, but in a video game form. And this is the kind of adult game that I think the Wii can have. And unfortunately, it didn't do very well sales-wise, but critically, it was widely acclaimed. And I feel like the Wii can do really cool stuff like this. And I think this shows it that adults will buy this game. And I think if it were marketed properly, there probably would have been much higher sales figures.
Do you think that was the problem? Was that it just wasn't marketed properly?
We knew about it because we read Game Informer and there's splash pages in there, but nobody knew that Mad World was going to be this awesome.
Sega's having some trouble. I think they, I don't know if they could really sell free money right now.
So you guys all have to go out and buy Mad World to support
Yes,
games
please do.
like that.
Awesome.
We've already done our part. Now it's your turn.
And buy games like that because there's so many more coming out in the second half of the year, which of course you'll see here on the show.
Yeah.
Now, the next entry in our top 9 of 09 isn't an actual full-on retail game, but an expansion. The Lost and Damned is the first batch of DLC for Rockstar's crime saga, and it feels like a whole new GTA experience.
Rockstar pulled off some pretty staggering feats of game design with Grand Theft Auto 4, so it follows that the DLC for GTA 4 would be impressive as well. And impressed we are. The GTA Biker Saga doesn't pull any punches.
Let the good times roll!
This is 10 hours of chopper riding, drug dealing, freeballing fun.
No secrets here, pal.
Weaving Johnny's story into Nico Bellic's GTA 4 saga is immensely entertaining, and running with the posse is a dynamic that changes the way we feel about GTA AI. Someone in Liberty City who I actually don't want to kill? Inconceivable! Add to all this improved motorcycle controls and new multiplayer modes like Chopper vs. Chopper and Club Business, and you've got just about the best DLC that $20 can buy.
Nothing like barbecue space chicken to make you feel patriotic.
Now, we've recommended a bunch of great games already, but I'm sure you're probably wondering what the guy who holds my place in the Korean barbecue truck line thinks. Well, now you can find out with these staff picks.
My pick for the best of 2009 so far would be Plants vs. Zombies from PopCap. I think it's the new crack.
My best of 2009 so far is Infamous. It's a shocking good time.
Street Fighter 4 because it's the online game that keeps on giving.
I like Patapon 2, and I like Toidles.
Plants vs. Zombies. I can't get enough of that game.
GTA Chinatown Wars is like the peanut butter and jelly of handheld games. It combines Grand Theft Auto and Drug Wars in one gorgeous package.
The DLC for Burnout Big Surf Island because it contains the most sushi restaurants per square foot of any DLC that's ever come out.
50 Cent Blood in the Sand.
Tiger Woods PGA Tour 10, because I too understand the struggle of a black millionaire with a knee problem.
Yep, X-Play, where empathy lives. Forget the Twitters and the Googles. The kids love newsletters, and X-Play's got them. Just go to g4tv.com/newsletters and have a fresh gaming update sent into your inbox. All right, now Flower for the PlayStation. I just like saying that. Flower for the PlayStation 3 is nothing like the games you're used to. The downloadable title doesn't equip players with lancers, gravity hammers, or flamethrowers to smite waves of enemies. You control the wind. That sounds kind of dandy? Well, yeah, suppose it is.
Usually when a game blows, we don't give it much love here at X-Play. Flower is an exception. This game blows from beginning to end, and we love it. That game company, the creators of the equally far-out Flow, surprised us with this PSN treat. The object is simple. Fly a breeze around and collect various flower petals. Why? Who cares, man? Just go with it. Different petals carry with them different sounds, and as you collect more and more petals, you create a sort of trancy symphony. Die-hard breeze jockeys can even search the savannah for the hidden flowers. There are no points, there are no time limits, and the game only lasts a couple of hours. But the point of Flower isn't the finish, it's the journey. And it's a journey that has been worth Flower's $10 cost of admission many times over.
It's like the end of Gladiator minus skinny Russell Crowe. We've covered a lot of games so far today, 8 to be exact, but now it is time for the magical 9th game. Our last game raises a most interesting question. What happens when a convicted felon fights a draft dodger? You get EA's Fight Night Round 4.
Fight Night has always been one of the jewels in the EA Sports crown. Fight Night Round 4 elevates the already A-list series to new heights. Gone are the constant parries and haymakers of Round 3, replaced by a brand new defensive system that is far more movement-based. If you prefer ducking and weaving in the previous games, you'll be right at home in Round 4. Obviously, the game is gorgeous, but unlike a lot of pretty graphics, these really matter to gameplay.
What a good counterpunch by Tyson.
Your boxer's condition is accurately reflected in his movement, stance, and appearance. Plus, the collision detection between the fighters is amazing. You can really see and feel it when simultaneous punches glance off one another and skin scrapes against skin. Fight Night Round 4's developers made some bold choices and sweeping changes, but you won't find a better simulation of the sweet science anywhere.
This fight is over.
Next week, we're going to have the latest on the Gears of War movie straight from Cliff Bleszinski.
Plus, we'll take you to Comic-Con where Blair is hosting the DC Universe panel.
And a review of Wii Sports Resort.
Up next, Attack of the Show.